to use in classes. This is OneNote, which means I can share a document with you that you can edit during the class. And it's also useful for keeping a lot of different resources in one place. For example, here I have some classes on the simple past and present perfect and some other ready-made grammar classes. So we can use that during a class to just kind of make up sentences, go over explanations of the different tenses, and then begin to build some narratives, looking at how the simple past and the present perfect can be used separately and together, and so on. And here for more intermediate or advanced classes, I have a whole collection of articles from magazines I have subscriptions to that we can use as a basis for conversations and speaking and comprehension, and also just breaking down the text and looking at how to put together an English text in a way that makes immediate sense to a native speaker. For example, looking at this article from New Scientist, we could take an excerpt and look at the use of idioms and phrases and cultural references and how those are used within the article to get the meaning across in a very, very direct manner, very concisely and precisely, to say exactly what the writer wants to mean. There are other classes as well. For example, here using associating a word with a strong image to link that to other words with similar but different meanings. So here, creating a narrative based on that first word, a narrative we can create in the class to link words together and make it obvious where those words are similar and where they're different. We can also use images, looking at different kinds of images and putting together narratives and stories, talking about the contents of the image, talking about the kinds of feelings that images can provoke, and just learning to link ideas in that way, learning the vocabulary needed to link ideas about feelings, about places, and whatever the topic of the conversation might be. Here also is an example of learning about English culture while learning language. This is a graphic novel version of Dickens' famous story, The Christmas Carol. And here you have the character Scrooge, the famous character Scrooge. And there's a lot of useful phrases and ways of saying things in English which are slightly old-fashioned, but which contain a lot of references that are still part of modern English and often come into conversation, written and spoken English. So it's very useful to have that kind of cultural fluency, particularly if you're going to work or travel much in England. So those are some of the resources I use. Please feel free to send me a message about any of these ideas and then how you might be able to use them for your language learning goals.